Hey guys, Animanga returns with the episode 10 review of Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters. This episode is very coolly, in my opinion, it was a cool title called Give Up the Ghost. This really caps off the 3 episode arc of Kaiba returning and helping out the gang, or helping out Yugi with his problem with Ghost Kaiba and the Mokuba situation, him being kidnapped. This is like the a 3 episode, mini arc within Duelist Kingdom. Um, and I have the 5 points for you guys, the rating, and the episode MVP today. Well, let's just get right on into it. So, this episode, a lot like episode 9 and 8 before it, is about the same level. They're all really good episodes, really well done. This one focuses a lot more on, like, half of it isn't even the duel. Most of it, half the episode's not even the duel. It's just about Kaiba maneuvering, trying to weaken Blue Eyes and escape Pegasus, and Pegasus trying to find Kaiba. Um, but when the duel parts do happen, the Pharaoh is a burn king in this episode. He really shows you he can talk some trash, some junk. So anyway, the first point I want to get to, and yes, this is Ghost Kaiba I'm drawing. I knew I drew the eyes slightly uneven, but I just made it like he had one eye less open and one eye open more. Like a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh characters tend to do that anyway, so I just left it like that. I noticed it. So the first point, Kaiba uploading a virus that infected Blue Eyes from his computer. So this can actually happen, as crazy as it seems, and people think it's insane. It was Duelist Kingdom, and this was early hologram technology that Kaiba himself created. So he created it, and it makes sense that he could destroy the monsters from, a remote place in his mansion. Um, so it makes sense. It's just very famous, and everyone always talks about it like it was Duelist Kingdom nonsense. No, that part wasn't actually the Duelist Kingdom nonsense. That part's coming up soon in a second. So that's the first point. Really, just Kaiba doing hacker stuff as usual with his awesome hacker theme in the background. I love every second of it. The second point, the Kaiba and Yugi connection that saved or prevented Yugi from losing the duel. Now, this was Duelist Kingdom craziness. This was Heart of the Cards craziness too. That's the only explanation for their connection, or the Heart of the Cards. One of those two is the explanation for how the Pharaoh or Yugi survived that attack, survived that Blue Eyes attack, even though Blue Eyes, because Kaiba had him. Kaiba had him at, beaten. Now I don't know. I think Blue Eyes was still at like 20. I forget what it said, but Blue Eyes was still at like 2,700, or was it 2,300 or something? I can't remember. I don't know if that would have been enough to win the duel though, because he was attacking Curse of Drag. I mean, no, he was attacking Feral Lamp. That's right. So yeah, it would have been enough no matter what. I think it was standing at about 2,000 attack points if I recall correctly. And he was going to attack the Pharaoh Lamp. The Pharaoh had him in face-up attack position because defense paralysis was out. And he was basically screwed. Like I said in the last video, the Pharaoh got outplayed this entire duel until the end. And Kaiba's connection, when he yells out, Yugi! And then the Pharaoh's like, Kaiba! And he just saves him. It reflects all the attack of Blue Eyes. And that part is really, really Duelist Kingdom craziness. That one still gets me, like, every time I watch it, it's like, wow, my hero would have lost. So that's the second point. The third point, Ghost Kaiba's hilarious true form. When he turns into the fat clown everyone knows, and everyone's talked about, a bridge made fun of it and everything. But before that, I always made fun of his voice, and he just comes out like, yeah. He just comes out like that, like a super creep, like this. You can see him right here. What a creep. Look at this guy. I always thought he was hilariously, like, the way he looks is so funny to me. And the way he talks is even funnier. He's like, yo, white lightning attack. He does that. It's just so funny. I still laugh at it now. But when I was a boy, I always replayed the part where he said, yo, white lightning attack. And I'm like, did he really just say that? So that's the third point. Everything with him was pretty funny, actually, and he became instantly not scary after he turned from fake Kaiba to big clown. So the fourth point, that was the third point. The fourth point, mystical elf powering up the blue eyes. Everyone knows about this. Everyone knew it was coming. Yes, the famous mystical elf play where she powers up blue eyes, and she was chanting a spell the whole time she was on the field. And of course, no one knew this but the pharaoh. And that is mystical elf's ability, and is later revealed and later on in the season. Yeah, that's what she does. She chants power ups to her allies. Let's just take it as it is, as Duelist Kingdom, folks. So that's the fourth point. The fifth point and the most famous part of the episode, of course, the Pharaoh's threat to Pegasus. When Pegasus is sitting comfy in his foyer or his dining room, sipping on his fruit juice and reading his comic book, watching the duel. And then when the Pharaoh mind crushes, instantly right after he mind crushes and defeats Ghost Kaiba, he comes out for Pegasus and says, "Pegasus, I can sense that you're watching. Consider this a warning. Nothing you send will stop me." I love that part. That was great. The most famous part of the episode by far, and one of the probably the third or fourth most famous point up to this point. It was the most third or more or fourth most famous part. Sorry, I can't talk today, guys. But yeah, so and that's what I'm going to draw here. It's that famous moment where he, to Pegasus, he's warning him. He says, "I'm coming for you, Pegasus," and he breaks. I love where it shows the Pegasus's wine bottle or wine glass crackling and then shatters, and Pegasus is laughing, Yugi boy. Because Pegasus really, this doesn't scare him that much. He's mastered his item. So as a boy, I was like, oh man, Pegasus must be worried. But now I'm thinking, no, he's probably not that worried because I know what happens in later seasons and what the flashbacks were of Pegasus's past. So he's not really worried about this. And I was right because that's exactly the point. Pegasus just I don't think he was that worried because he knew he was confident in his abilities. He could read everyone's mind cards. He was pretty much a god at this point. So that was the fifth point. Of course, his warning to Pegasus. I love it. "I'm coming for you, Pegasus." I just can't help but say it again. So those are the 5 points. The rating of this episode, it's got to be the same as episode 8 and 9. 9.5 out of 10. 9.5 out of 10. It's just as good as the others. It has a more famous part than the other two, but still, I'd rate them all evenly because they're all part of like a mini arc within Duelist Kingdom. And at the end of the day, Mokuba was still Mokuba was still captured anyway. Kimo ran off with him. And last thing, and Pegasus saying to Croquet, "That's two escapes, Croquet. Must I lock you away again?" How many times has he locked Croquet away? That's what I'm wondering. And he says this stuff later. He's like, "I'm gonna lock." I forget what he says during the Paradox Brothers duel. He says he locked him away or needs to put him in the dungeon again. I forget. But so the rating's 9.5 out of 10, and the episode MVP is the Pharaoh because of his really really cool, really bad to the bone moment. Um, and his burn on Ghost Kaiba, where he says, where he's like, "I just don't know what to call you. I was thinking about monster, but I didn't want to insult the cards." Oh, Ghost Kaiba didn't even have anything to say to that. Wow, wow, what a burn. So I'll just leave it off at that, guys. Great episode. I will be back with episode 11 soon. And it will be a great one. All right. Talk to you guys soon. Bye.